Right, next speaker.
Next speaker, Anthony Scarborough, followed by Gene Sandifer.
I'm a little shorter than that. Okay. Good evening. My name is Anthony Scarborough, and I am coming to you from the viewpoint of a customer, not as a driver of either company. And one of the things that I want to say is I am a very big Uber fan as a customer. It's a service that I prefer as opposed to the taxi services. And the reason why I prefer that is I do feel like I get much better service from the Uber drivers than I have any taxi company ever in Jackson. Also, prior to the job that I do now, I worked in the hospitality industry, and we would schedule services with our guests with the taxi drivers here in Jackson, and it would always come back to us that the service was deplorable. They would be driven around long routes. They would be talked to ugly. They didn't accept credit cards. They would talk bad about the city. You know, all these things would come back to us, so we would stop using them. When the Uber drivers came into the city, we started referring them to the Uber drivers, and we got much better results. You know, these are people that are coming to visit our city, and they're getting bad pictures of the city from the taxi drivers. And that's just something we can't allow. But they want an even playing field. How is that fair when you have these taxi companies that are talking bad about the city? You drop them off at King Edward. Oh, you don't want to stay here. You should stay somewhere else. But they want an even playing field. One of the things that is mentioned is the insurance law that is in place. It's worth noting that, and I'm pulling this directly from the Uber website, when an Uber driver is en route with a customer, there is Uber insurance that represents that driver. And so when they're en route with a customer, they have a $1 million liability policy in effect for that service. Only while they're driving. When they're not, carrying a customer or they're not available, the driver's personal insurance takes effect. But when they are driving a customer, they have insurance in place. But, that's one of the things that keeps getting mentioned, and it's not true to say that they don't have the insurance policy in place, because they do. And, I want to be able to bring the different services into Jackson because it is a service that's widely used. There are also a lot of situations where drivers do not accept credit cards, and then even when they do, they get annoyed when the customer has a credit card. So maybe the competition would be a good thing to bring up the level of service for the taxi drivers, because it's not there.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Gene Sandifer, followed by Donna Robinson.
Gene Sandifer, Deluxe Cab. Good evening. I'm really opposed at all of this talk I just got through hearing from the Uber driver and from one of the, so-called customers of Uber. Yes, there is a bad taste in my mouth for Uber. I've been a taxi cab driver here in Jackson for the last 6 years. And, Councilman Preachler, I'm in your district.